Hi everyone, this is Mindy and welcome to the Simon Says Stamp DieCember release. So in today's video, I'm going to be creating kind of a serene winter scene. I'm starting off with the Domed Arches mask. This is a stencil set and I wanted to have kind of this archway to set my scene. So I taped my Neenah Solar White cardstock that is cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I taped that down to my work surface just by folding up some tape, and then I placed the stencil over the top. I lined the bottom of the stencil up with the bottom of my cardstock, and then I'm coming in at the bottom of my stencil with Lilac ink. I'm going to pick up a little of that ink with my blending brush and blend that just towards the bottom. And then I'm going to come in with Morning ink. And this is a really pretty blue, kind of a periwinkle color that I'm adding to the very top. And I'm going to blend it down into that purple. Now I will bring my purple blending brush back in. I still had some purple ink on there and I'm just going to help kind of smooth out that transition. Now then, I'm going to remove my stencil, clean it off, and then I'm going to bring it back in and line it back up. I wanted to have that free of any ink because I'm going to add some splatters to this, and I didn't want any other ink contamination on it. And for my splatters, I'm using the Perfect Pearls. I think this was in Confetti White. So I mixed that with a little bit of water, and then picking that up with my paintbrush, I'm going to add these really pretty sparkly splatters to my background. Now I can remove this. I'll clean off my stencil off screen, but I'm going to set that off on the side to dry because I don't want to smear my splatters. Now the die set that I'm going to be using tonight, which is a brand new die, is called Pointed Evergreens. A really pretty scene that is going to create at the bottom of my card. So I die cut that from white cardstock about 3 times, and this is heavyweight cardstock, about 110 pounds. I used some liquid glue to attach them all together to add dimension to this and help separate it from the background. Now for sentiment, I'm using this basic trio die set, and this is a great staple to have in your collection. We have hugs, thanks, hello, but I'm going to use hugs. So even though we have this really pretty kind of serene winter scene, it's going to be just a general occasion type of card. So I'm die cutting that from gold mirror cardstock, and then also a couple more times from white cardstock, and I'm going to layer that together as well. Now while I'm doing this, I want you to pay close attention to what is in my right hand. Well, not right now, but what was in my right hand here. And that is Simon Says Stamp branded tweezers. You guys, you know how much I love my tweezers. I love these. They have a soft grip. They're really easy to open and close. So super excited to add these tweezers to my collection. So while I was gushing about the tweezers, I added my trees and then my sentiment to the front of the card using that liquid glue. Now, it felt kind of off to me, and I should have done this beforehand, but I'm going to trim this panel down. So I'm taking this over to my paper trimmer, and thankfully I didn't add too many layers with my trees, and I'm able to trim that off with my paper trimmer. So this is going to end up measuring 4 by 5 1/4. Now I have cardstock in my collection. This cardstock I'm going to use for my base, I think is called Periwinkle, and it is from Hero Arts. But first, I'm going to line the back of my blended panel with some foam tape, and this isn't a very high foam tape. It's a pretty thin foam tape, so it's going to help just kind of push it up from that colored cardstock a little bit. And that Periwinkle cardstock matched so perfectly, and I love how it kind of draws your eye into the card because I used a similar ink color. Now, before you go, there's one thing I want to mention. And that is, if I were to redo this card, I would have put the hugs more down towards the trees because right now my card is kind of top heavy. I have that wide open space down in that right hand corner. So it still looks fine. I'm going with it. But if I were to redo it, I would redo that hugs towards the bottom of the card front. Just a little something that I wanted to point out. Now, as always, I will have my supplies listed down below in the video description and over on my blog as well. Be sure to check out the rest of the DieCember release because it is amazing. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you again soon.